All right, we are out here at the NHRA Motorsports Museum in the city of Pomona. Larry, how's it going, man?
Nice to meet you.
Hey, so tell us, first of all, before we check out all the rides behind us, who is this and what's this?
Well, that's a Wally.
That's a Wally.
It's probably the biggest Wally in the world. What it is actually it's just a huge reproduction of the statue and is the trophy given out to NHRA champions and winners of NHRA drag racing events.
Okay.
And its nickname, the Wally, kind of like the Oscar and the Academy Awards, comes from actually the founder of the National Hot Rod Association, Wally Parks.
So give me a little bit of background on the NHRA.
Well, the National Hot Rod Association is an organizing or sanctioning body for drag racing, but it all started right here in Southern California. In fact, the first NHRA sanctioned drag race took place here at the Fairplex in Pomona, on the track that's still here today. Wally was a hot rodder. A lot of accidents happened, and so hot rodders earned this bad reputation.
Yeah.
And Wally went out and tried to fix that, and he enlisted people like Bud Coons and Sheriff Parker, who were in law enforcement and would go out and talk to the kids, got other volunteers together, organized them to go out and get people off the street, onto tracks, and that's where the creation of NHRA started. This car, this is what we call a T-bucket.
Okay.
It's based on a 1925 Ford Model T Roadster, or Model T pickup. Guys would find old cars, cheap old cars, chop them up, put big motors in them, and build hot rods. Mm-hmm. The car next to it was built by a guy named Norm Grabowski. He was also an aspiring actor. He worked in Hollywood, and there was a show coming onto television called Route 66. Mm-hmm. And the main character in the show, Kooky, drove a T-bucket hot rod. So the call went out for the right car, and Norm stepped up, hey, I got a hot rod, and showed up with a car. Well, when they first did the pilot, a black car on black and white television didn't work too good.
Sure.
So they said, take it away, make it cooler, brighter, bring it back, we want to use the car in the film. So that's where that paint job came from. As did the kick in the body. You see how it's kind of kicked up funny?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was all for the camera. Norm was aware of what would film well, so he modified the car. Yeah. This car belongs to a guy named Richie Guasco. It's a 1929 Ford Highboy Roadster. A highboy means that the body is sitting on the frame. It hasn't been dropped over the frame like a lot of hot rods. But this car won a very important show called the Oakland Roadster Show. The Oakland Roadster Show is the longest running hot rod show in the country. It now is held here at the Fairplex, and it's called the Grand National Roadster Show. And the award that they give out every year is America's Most Beautiful Roadster. And this car won the America's Most Beautiful Roadster trophy back in 1961.
What determines a hot rod? I mean, what are the rules to, you have to have 4 tires, you have to have pipes out there. What's a hot rod?
Actually, it's the opposite.
Oh.
There are no rules.
Oh, there are no rules.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
That's what makes a hot rod, is, you think about it, these guys came back, really hot rodding got its legs right after World War II.
Okay.
Prior to the war, you can say, what was the first drag race? Probably the second guy in town bought his Model T and decided to prove who was faster than the first guy in town. But, and people were modifying cars before the war. But after the war, things changed. Because after the war, we had disposable income, we had free time. That was a novel thing. People moved off the farms and into cities. And you had affordable cars.
What do we have here?
Well, this is a good place to talk about lakes.
Okay.
And racing on the lakes. And the car right here, the Moon Eye Special, is a great example. There you have a 32 Ford Coupe, but this car was specifically designed to race on the dry lakes. That car goes 176 miles an hour. The blue car here, that's Mickey Thompson's Challenger 1. And that car, in 1960s, broke the world record and was the first car to go over 400 miles an hour. This car went 238 miles an hour in 1952 and broke the world record. So in 8 years' time, from 1952 to 1960, we went from 238 miles an hour to 400 miles an hour.
Mackerel.
And the car behind us here, this one, Venturi,
Yeah.
that's the Buckeye Bullet. It was built by students at Ohio State University and is the first battery-powered car to go over 300 miles an hour. And that just happened 2 years ago.
Battery powered, and you have it here.
Battery-powered. Drag racing, which also evolved out of this hot rodding, was held more local and was originally started on like abandoned airstrips, and then ultimately drag strips were built. But that defined itself into a quarter mile. So when we talk about drag racing today, we're talking about an acceleration contest. Who can get down that quarter mile the fastest?
Okay.
It's a completely different thing than top speed.
And these are all the drag racers you have.
And over here we have dragsters.
So check them out.
The first races were more traditional hot rods, so you see the similarity in a car like this one.
Yeah.
This is Art Chrisman's number 25 car. It was the very first car to go down the track at a national drag race event.
Why are they so long?
Primarily, their length is related to stability, directional stability. You want the car to go straight, and it also helps hold the car down.
These tires are so huge, and the tires that are on the front of these look like bicycle tires.
Yeah, well, they started out as motorcycle tires.
They really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Today, the cars go so fast, they actually have to build tires specifically for these cars.
Wow.
Modern versions of a top fuel dragster today cover a quarter mile in less than 4 seconds. And the drivers who drive these cars, the acceleration from the starting line is roughly equivalent to what an astronaut feels when they launch a space shuttle. So they developed a tire called a wrinkle wall tire, and that's what these are. You see how they kind of look like a balloon?
Yeah, actually.
Right. Wow. A tire like this has very little pressure in it. Your car at home has maybe 35 pounds of air in the tire.
Okay.
This has about 8 to 10 pounds of air in the tire.
Wow.
And when the car starts to accelerate, the centrifugal force on the tire causes this tire to expand. And when it expands, the low pressure allows where it's touching the ground to flatten out.
Okay.
And that gives it the traction so that it can get down the track. And the reason they call it a wrinkle wall is that flattening effect actually causes the side of the tire to wrinkle up. This is the Dragmaster 2 thing.
This thing right here.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know, we were talking about no rules. Back in the earlier years of drag racing, when guys were trying to get a lot of horsepower, they were trying to think of different ways of doing it. So this car...
It's 2 engines, it looks like.
Right. This car was built in 1960, and in order to get more horsepower, they figured, well, 1 engine's great, why not put 2?
Whoa. Wow. See, the pedals are way up, so I guess you kind of have to have your legs.
Well, imagine yourself in 1960 in your fire suit with your helmet on.
In 1960.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So where's the keys, by the way?
No keys.
No key. Oh, there's a button
This
right
is where
here.
we stop. We don't let you drive it.
Wait a second here. Wait.
Now, if you want to see cars like this actually run,
Yeah.
these old cars, you can come out to Bakersfield in October, the Famoso Raceway, and our museum puts on the California Hot Rod Reunion. It's a 3-day drag racing and hot rodding event, and it's all of these nostalgia dragsters. We'll get 80 cars out on the track for a mass starting we call a Cackle Fest, and for 3 days you can see these things actually race.
You have several rooms that we haven't even been in yet. I mean, look at all these cars. If the public wants to come out and explore, when are you open?
We're open Wednesday through Sunday, 10 to 5, year-round. And you can also come out on a Wednesday night, first Wednesday of the month, for our Twilight Cruise. And we usually have several hundred hot rods out in the parking lot, and people come just to have a great time, and the museum is open.
Oh, this is awesome, man. Thank you so much. All right, you heard it. This is the only place in the country where you can come out and check it out. The NHRA Motorsports Museum here in Pomona, right in your own backyard. Ooh, this is cool. I gotta go take one for a spin, though. I gotta let you into that. Come on.